Okay, so here's part B. Here's what were some of the things that you thought were interesting about this?
Well, that you can't project anything from a higher dimension into a lower dimension perfectly.
Okay.
You have to alter some things.
Oh, you want to draw an example of that?
Well, like a square, a cube projected into 2 dimensions.
Uh-huh.
Would look something like this. Got this line here.
Okay. And what goes wrong with the projection? Like, why isn't that a perfect rendering?
Well, because here it looks like this angle, this side here,
Uh-huh.
is longer than this side here.
Okay.
And like this angle here seems to be less than this angle here.
Interesting. And what are some of the important properties of a cube?
Oh, all the sides are the same and all the angles are right angles.
Yeah, interesting. This idea of projecting and studying projections is a fascinating aspect of geometry, actually, and understanding. Where do you think, we don't usually talk about where things get applied like that, but where do you think having a good understanding of how things project from 3 dimensions to 2 dimensions would really help you?
Well, kind of understanding like how 4-dimensional objects project.
Yeah, that'd be one. But like, if you had a job, like if you went off to work and were doing work, where would understanding 3-dimension to 2-dimension projections be really useful?
Sort of math place.
Well, it is a little bit of math.
Yeah.
I'll give you a hint. What did you guys watch last night?
It was.
It was a movie.
Okay, and what was interesting about that movie?
Well, it was on the TV, but it was in 3 dimensions.
Aha! It was on a 2-dimensional screen that we were watching. The 3-dimensional things were happening on that screen. And were those 3-dimensional things happening in that movie real, or were they made on a computer?
Probably some of them were made on a computer.
Some of them were made on a computer. So the people who doing that had to figure out how to make 3-dimensional things appear on a computer screen, which is 2-dimensional.
Yeah.
So that would be one. So computer graphics is one thing where making sure you understand what projections look like is important.
Yep.
So there's a lot of really interesting math behind that. Because you can imagine on those projections, you got to get even the simplest things right. Like you got to understand what's in front and what's in back. Okay, cool. What's the second thing you wrote down from the movie?
Well, that lower dimensional things can't sense higher dimensions. Like they can't be in the dimension.
Okay.
But they can kind of know that it's there, even though they can't imagine what it looks like.
Uh-huh. What was an example of that in the movie?
Well, like the 2-dimensional guy walking around a circle or a sphere.
Uh-huh.
So he knew there was a higher dimension, but he didn't know how to think about it.
Interesting. Did that two-dimensional figure walking around that sphere remind you of anything you've seen previously?
Oh, it's like.
We've seen a movie about that before, a similar movie.
It's something walking around a sphere.
Well,
Or
like the Klein bottle movie.
There was a Klein
or like a
bottle movie.
Mobius strip.
A Mobius strip? Who was walking around a Mobius strip?
There was the Wind and Mr. Ugg video.
Yeah, I did Mr. Ugg. And so when you walk around a sphere, you get back to where you started. What was different about when you walked around a Mobius strip?
You got to the other side of where you started.
And then it takes 2 rotations to get
It
back.
takes 2 rotations to get back to where you were. So you might think, hey, just walking around and getting back to where you started is pretty simple, but it turns out it's bizarrely complicated.
Yeah.
Right? You might actually go around and get back to where you started, but you're reversed, like on the Mobius strip. Pretty cool. All right. So what else? What are your final thoughts on this movie?
It's pretty cool. Maybe we could do something about Flatland.
Okay. What do you think?
Yeah, it's interesting. The fourth dimension into the third dimension is interesting.
Yeah. Have you guys ever heard of Carl Sagan before?
No.
No? Alright. Alright, hey, cool. Good work this morning, guys. High five.